You're awake and looking at the world. Objectivists get that right for sure. That something exists and something knows is undeniable, but that recognition explains almost nothing. It's not even a first step, it's step zero. It's a truism, not a principle. It tells us nothing about choice, causality, or the logic of trade. The first step is to identify what exists. What exists are entities with natures, and among those entities is man, and it is self-evident that man acts. That is why we study man under that basic axiom and call the discipline praxeology. Because man is rational, he acts purposefully. Because resources are scarce, choice is necessary. Because time passes, all action implies time preference. These are not empirical guesses. They are necessary truths grounded in the essence of what man is. We don't measure triangles thousands of times to know that their interior angles sum to 180 degrees. We reflect on the nature of a triangle and see that it must be so. Likewise, we did not invent human action any more than we invented the triangle. It is not an artifact of the mind, like Descartes might suggest, but a structure of being. We do not construct the category of action in our heads. We recognize it by reflecting on what humans are and what they do, through direct inner awareness that one is an agent choosing among ends and means. Action is not optional. It is constitutive of the human. That is why the axiom, man acts, is not an empirical generalization, but a metaphysical truth. It is true in light of what man is. Action is not an artifact of how we think. It is a structure of reality. Anyone who tries to deny that man acts refutes himself in the very act of denial. The categories of praxeology are logically prior to experience, not temporally prior. We are never conscious before experience, but without these categories, no experience can be understood at all. For Mises, following the Neo-Kantian line, these categories are a priori because the human mind must perceive the world through them. He believed they are a priori laws of thought. For Rothbard, following Aristotle, Aquinas, and Menger, they are a priori because they describe the real structure of being. They are not mental filters imposed on experience, but features of objective reality that reason can discover through reflection. Hence, when we identify ends, means, scarcity, causality, and choice, we are not constructing mental scaffolding. We are recognizing the enduring principles that define human existence itself. Mises was right in logic, and Rand was right in ontology. Rothbard unites the two. Logic describes the necessary structure of reasoning. Ontology grounds it in reality. Logic is real, and reality is logical. The categories that flow from the action axiom are: there must be an actor, the actor must have an end, he must choose means, he must perceive scarcity, he must experience time and causality. Once you grasp these categories, further truths follow by deduction. Action implies preference, choosing A over B. Preference implies subjective value. Action in time implies time preference. Voluntary exchange implies mutual gain. From this single axiom, man acts, the entire edifice of economics can be deduced as absolutely and apodictically true. No appeal to statistics or testing can make these relations more certain. They are true by necessity, not by probability. This is why Rothbard insisted that praxeology's laws are not even conceivably falsifiable. They are more certain than any empirical law of physics. Properly understood, empiricism is not the enemy of reason, but its servant. Methodological dualism captures this. Human action must be understood through deduction, while the physical world is studied empirically. Theory tells us what must be true, and our senses measure contingent magnitudes like prices, quantities, or institutional constraints. This is why economics and ethics are connected. Ethics without praxeology is just sentiment. Before we can speak of what man ought to do, we must understand that man is a rational actor pursuing ends through chosen means. Rights and justice are meaningless if man is not the kind of being who acts purposefully and owns himself. If you leave your metaphysics toothless, your ethics slippery, and your epistemology vague, you will still reach conclusions, but they'll be gut feelings masquerading as reason. That's how you end up with people claiming to be for liberty and free markets, and against coercion and parasitism, and yet also claim there's such a thing as a proper role for government.